What up guys, Dreadshells here and welcome back to World of Tanks. I got a couple of things to talk about real quick here before we dive into today's gameplay. First of all, here I'm sitting on the test server, and I'm not sure if you guys were aware or not, if you've been keeping up to date with the patch 9.15 notes and the specific details, but originally in patch 9.15, the T-54 lightweight was going to receive a semi-nerf, if you will. It was going to receive a nerf to both its first and second 100mm guns. The top gun, of course, is what you will be using unless you're grinding it. The base reload of the top 100mm gun, the D10T mod 1945, was going to be nerfed from a base reload of 7.5 seconds to 8.2 seconds, I believe it was what it was going to be. And then the aim time here was going to be buffed actually from 2.2 seconds to 2.1 seconds aim time. However, Wargaming have backpedaled on that, and now that change has been put on hold or postponed or canceled. I'm not sure which. I've been looking through patch notes and third-party sites, and I haven't been able to find out very many details on why they decided to change their mind on canceling the changes to this tank. Interestingly enough, when I was testing around some statistics of the tank here, I actually found that this proposed nerf, quote-unquote, was actually a buff of sorts in disguise, because while the reload was being nerfed slightly, the aim time was being buffed. So originally my equipment loadout for this tank is gun, rammer, vertical stabilizers, and coated optics. However, with the aim time buff to 2.1 seconds, you could probably pretty decently get away with not using vertical stabilizers and switching them out for vents, as long as you have like Brothers in Arms and Smooth Ride and Snapshot on your crew to compensate for not using vertical stabilizers. The gun handling would be a little bit worse overall. But the benefit for switching out the vertical stabilizers for ventilation would be that you actually have an increased reload time. And I ran the numbers, and you actually, if they had gone through with this reload nerf / aim time buff, and you made that equipment loadout, you would actually have a faster reload than you did before the reload nerf. Just simply because of how the Brothers in Arms events stack. And of course you have slightly worse gun handling, but you would actually be getting a faster reload slightly, and and of course by default a faster DPM. So that was kind of interesting. Also here, while we're on the test server, I'm not sure if you guys been keeping up to date with blogs or whatever, or hopping on the test server yourself, but here we can see the new interface for the tank statistics here, so you don't have to jump onto third-party sites as often anymore. You got the firepower category here, which tells you your alpha damage, your penetration, your reload time, your damage per minute, etc. One thing I do not like about this here is that they show the damage spread and the penetration spread. That's fine, and they can show that, but I would actually like to see the average damage and the average penetration values of this. I know I can look it up manually for the gun down here, but it would be nice to see it up here as well. Also, you have the armor values here. These aren't effective armor values, they're only nominal armor values, but it's better than nothing at all, of course. Maybe down the road Wargaming will be able to introduce some sort of third window interface, kind of like in Tanks GG or in Tank Inspector, where you can actually go in, look at the tank model and hover your cursor over the tank at certain angles and see what kind of effective armor values that you have. And that would be really nice for them to introduce into the game instead of just having these base nominal armor values. And then you have mobility here, pretty basic stuff: engine power, specific horsepower to ton ratio, your top speed, your hull traverse, etc. This is something new here, the concealment, which is the camo rating mechanic in World of Tanks, and your base camo rating of your tank. I really like this, because quite honestly, this is a neglected area that Wargaming have for World of Tanks. They don't do a very good job in educating their player base in how the spotting and the camo rating mechanics work in World of Tanks. And it's nice to see them actually introducing some statistics, hard numbers for people to see. How this works here, what these numbers mean is this is your camo rating while stationary, with 19%. I have a 100% crew here just so you guys can see the base values here, and no equipment. 19% while your vehicle is stationary, and then this 4.17 camo rating, which is worse, is your camo rating after your firing while stationary. And then on the second row here is your camo rating while moving, which in this case is exactly the same as stationary because it's a scout tank, and that's one of the primary attributes of a scout tank. You keep the same camo rating on the move or stationary, so that is the same. But if you were driving a heavy tank or tank destroyer, for an example, the second value here would be lower than the first value here. And then the second value here on the right in the second row is your camo rating while moving and firing your gun. So it's really nice to see them introducing that into the game. And then finally here we have some spotting. You have your view range and your signal range. Also, something that I really like that they put in here, and I'm gonna start throwing in some equipment so you guys can see. All these values, including your firepower values, your gun values, and some of your mobility. As far as, actually, they don't have any terrain resistance stats here. That would be nice for them to add in. But as far as concealment and spotting, these values actually adjust live depending on the equipment that you mount on it. So for instance, right now my view range is 390, and then when I throw coated optics on, it jumps up to 429 meters view range. And then if I switch out my crew here for the normal crew that I would use in this tank here, you can see that my camo rating went from 19 to 32.6. So it not only works here for the statistics and values of your tank based on your crew skills and the equipment that you're using, or consumables if you're using food, for example. They not only get adjusted for your camo rating and view range, but for all the statistics here as far as firepower here. So right now I don't have anything affecting that as far as equipment is concerned, but let's see here. My reload time currently right now is 7 seconds, and if I put on a gun rammer here, you can see it modifies to 6.3 seconds. And then when I put on ventilation, if I can find it down here, you can see that it improves slightly more to 6.2 seconds. So I really like that aspect, that it modifies instantly, and you can see what the changes that your equipment are actually making and how much they're actually improving the performance of your tank overall. Also, one of the other user interface features that I like that they finally introduced into the game was your tank carousel filter, which I'm sure probably a lot of you are familiar with. You use modifications to make it easier to find your tanks, but that will be one less mod that you don't need to use anymore, as it's now part of the vanilla client. You can sort your tank by nation. You can highlight it here by clicking on it, and then sorting by tank type. Let's say I want to look for a Russian heavy, tier 6, and there we go, I can find my KV2 really quick. Or let's say I want to find one of my German tank destroyers, maybe tier 7 like my Panther, and there it is right there. So that's really, really nice. It makes it really easy to get to the tanks that you want to play very quickly. And you can always reset your filter to 0 and then start over from scratch once again. So, but that is enough talking about boring statistics. Let's dive into some gameplay. Alright, so jumping into the gameplay here, we're in a tier 9 game on Fjords. Although really it's more of a tier 8 game because there's only 2 tier 9s on each side. So right away, the matchmaking is really super nice for us as far as tiering is concerned. And in this kind of a matchup, when you're a scout, the higher tier you are in the matchmaking, the more that you're obligated to do your own damage, and as well as assistance damage through your spotting. And of course, especially that is the case, of course, on maps that don't really have very good effective spotting locations. There are some limited spotting opportunities on Fjords, and you can get into certain situations in mid and late game where that will be effective. But for the most part, most of the time, everyone is spotting targets for themselves directly. And it's you're better off trying to figure out ways to do damage yourself and to flank the enemy. Also, there's a decent amount of tank destroyers on both teams. They have one more than us, I think. Here, yeah, they have 5 versus our 4, and there's 3 scouts on each team. So, looking at this. Considering that there's no arty, I need to be really, really aggressive in my positioning and my decision making on how quickly I decide to engage or retreat in a situation to maximize the chances that my team will win. So let's just get started. Alright, so from the east spawn on Fjords, you really have limited options on where you can go. You can go to the north into A0, and you can also go into the pond in F5, F4, F5, and put pressure on tanks in E5. But I don't like going there alone unless I know absolutely that I'm going to have support. Unfortunately, we waste a premium shell there on a 2801, but I've gotten into this habit of loading a premium round for my first shell in most of the games I play, because early damage is very important. When you're working this rock here, you need to be really careful on how much you're reversing here, because if you reverse too much, you expose the side of your tank to the left, and tanks in the C4 area can shoot you. Reload a premium shell here for the 54 mod 1 because I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a side shot in on him, but he was nice enough to give us his side, so we didn't have to shoot through his front plate. And now I'm just getting shot from J5. And what I'm doing here is I'm reversing far enough away from the original position where I was last spotted so I don't get blind shot again. And now, right now, I do not want to peek and shoot at the 54 mod 1 again because that means I'll get spotted. And I'm a little bit frustrated with my team right here because you see on the minimap there, you see all the tanks on my team that are on that side of the map, but they're not putting any presence onto that J5, the K5 corner, or J4, J5 corner, that is. And so that means that one of the tanks down there was able to shoot me in the back for free. So I was a little bit frustrated with that. And I decided to leave and run. I cannot stand and hold my ground against that many tanks there. The Super Pershing, the T-34-2, and the T-54 mod 1. especially with my hit points, and I just don't have the armor and the DPM or alpha damage to just fight those guys off. And especially considering the enemy have the back side angle on me on J5, so they could shoot me from behind as well, so I'm getting shot at from multiple angles. Doing a little bit of a noob mistake here in driving in front of the Chi-Ri's firing lane. When you're maneuvering through a battlefield, if you have the option, try to drive around behind a person's firing lane so you don't mess up their aim and or accidentally have them accidentally shoot you. So right now I'm just trying to put as much sniper support as I can into the middle area in E6 and E7. Fortunate bounce there. And now I'm basically just doing everything I can to do as much damage and to make all these enemies pay for encapsulating my team there. And you can see on the mini-map that most of my team is still concentrated in the H5, H5 and G6 areas. Try to go for a kill shot there on the Super Pershing, but unfortunately we roll low, of course. Was about to go for the kill shot on the T-54, but the Chi-Ri finishes him off. It's really important when in your situations like here to try to eliminate as many guns from the battlefield as you can, because you're already behind on guns, and you need to eliminate the tank advantage that the enemy has on you as quickly as possible. Now I'm just taking shots of opportunity here. No any of the other tanks were showing themselves. The Wheezy 111 1 DAC-4 is a one-shot, so I'm trying to take his gun out of the fight here. Have to wait for that AMX 5100 to drive past the house. And now I'm already planning to run away after my next shot because these guys are easily within view range to spot me now. I knew I would get spotted in that shot, so I already planned to run away. So right now I'm waiting until I'm unspotted before I cross this gap to my left so they don't have free shots on me there. See if I have a shot on the Super Pershing, but I don't. And what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a crossfire angle for the tanks that are about to advance into our base. The Chi-Ri is still sniping there on the peninsula, and I'm just setting up a defensive position here. This is what you want to do, quite honestly, in any tank that you are playing, but of course the more mobile tanks like lights and mediums or fast tank destroyers and heavies are able to do this as well more easily. But you're always trying to create the most angles of attack that you can on your enemy to force them to look two directions, right? So as they advance into our base, they have to look to their left and their right, right? And they can't do both at the same time. And they have to split their focus and they have to split their concentration. But the Chi-Ri and we only have to look in one direction, right? Because they're all in one location. So right now we have to focus on taking out the low healths. The Chi-Ri takes out the Super Pershing. Going for the 5100 first because he's the more dangerous target. As an autoloader he can do a lot of damage. And the Chi-Ri was able to take advantage of the fact that the 5100 was distracted by me and he had a free shot on him. And then the roles were reversed. The 54 Mod 1 was distracted by the Chi-Ri, and I had a free shot on him, and that's what creating multiple angles of attack on your enemy can do. And now it's almost cleanup time. I need to be careful here. We can still potentially lose this if we play it badly. I did not initially commit over that ridge because I wasn't sure if I was able to outmaneuver the Egg Tiger through this narrow gap in between the buildings here. But I dove in here because there's a little bit of a space in between these buildings, and if the Egg Tiger tries to bully me and swing me into a building, I have enough time to turn my tank and get around the corner before he turns and has a shot on me. Quite amazed actually that the Chi-Ri was able to pen the Egg Tiger there. During the game, I actually couldn't believe it. He must have loaded some premium ammo to pen that. Now, the AMX 1357 hasn't been spotted all game, and the enemy comment says that he's AFK and at the enemy cap. I don't always take the enemy at their word whenever they say things like that, because sometimes they try to fool you and double bluff you, and it turns out that they are waiting in an ambush for you. So always be prepared to be ready to fight a live enemy. But I'm also pretty sure that he's AFK, considering the amount of area that our team covered on the map and didn't see him. I'm pretty sure he's AFK, and he is. I've loaded some HE rounds here, and I'm planning on shooting him in the back once I get around to behind him. And we're able to pen him here. And now it's just some icing on the cake. And we finish off with an ammo rack. So I wanted to show you guys this game in the 54 lightweight on Fjords for multiple reasons. One, I don't show the T-54 lightweight on the channel as much as I should. Quite honestly, I should try to play this tank more so you guys can get a feel for how good this tank is. I would call this tank more of a combat scout or a combat light, and not so much as good of a vision scout. It can do the scouting role as far as vision is concerned quite well in certain situations. It's not its strength. It's the only tier 8 scout that does not have 400 meters base view range. It has 390 meters base view range. But it's a pretty agile machine, so it can do the active scouting quite well in certain situations, as long as the distance that you're trying to peek over ridges is not too far. And it, depending on the map, of course, the slight disparity in the view range, base view range, can or cannot affect how well you can spot the enemy at longer distances. But this tank's main strength is anti-scouting and doing damage. Also, I wanted to show you this game because of the map that it's on. I don't show a lot of games on Fjords. Quite honestly, it's not my favorite map, but there are quite a few maps that I don't like more than this. I would call this an okay map. It definitely has some problems as far as balance is concerned, and I like the western spawn a lot more than the eastern spawn, because I feel like you get an extra angle of fire and vision when you have the western spawn, as long as you're aggressive enough into the northeastern corner. And also, lastly, I wanted to show you guys this game to always be trying to do the most for your team, right? Initially, I jumped into D7 to try to get some vision and some early shots, but when it became apparent that I couldn't stay there as there was just too many enemies and I was outgunned and out HP'd and I had to run away. Quite honestly, I stayed there one shot too long. I should have run away as soon as I had gotten shot from J5. But that's water under the bridge. I was able to survive. And then I was forced to go into a supporting role. My vision didn't matter anymore. The enemy tanks that were engaging into the middle in E6 and E7 were already being spotted by my teammates, as well as the ones in J5, so my vision wasn't really needed, right? And what was much more important is my ability to create second angles of fire to force the enemy that if they want to push my teammates and take positions on the map, that not only are they going to have to get shot by my teammates, but they're also going to have to get shot by me, and of course get shot by the Chiri, who was also on the island as well. And then once they killed all of our team in the Waterside City area in G6 and in H6, the plan was from there to once again, like we did before, create multiple angles of attack, which is why I switched to E9, and that way the enemy was forced to look to the north and to the south. Always be looking for opportunities to not just out-bully the enemy players, but to out-strategize enemy players and to force them into a bad position by your positioning yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this game. Happy hunting and take care.